3, 2. Okay, so we are live. Just want to get... Hi, everybody. We're live. I'm just trying to get my tablet set up so we can see comments as they come in. So if you say hi, I'll know you're here. And I can see if there's any questions or anything as we go along. So just bear with me for a second till we get set up. And we'll wait a few minutes to make sure everybody's here. I see you've got 3 people. Good. One of them probably me on my tablet. Okay. So let's just give it a few minutes here. Got 4 now. A little wave.
Maybe is that last week's video?
No.
Are you sure?
No, see? Oh, it is. That is last week's video. So that's not right. You need to correct that.
Janet's there. Mary Lou's there.
Yeah, but that's last week.
Yes, I can see it there.
Oh, you can see it here. Okay. All right. Oh, we have Janet. We have Mary Lou. Hi, Della. You made it. Awesome. Hi, Mary Lou. Great Valentine's cards you showed me this morning. They looked really good. Hi, Janet. Okay, we're just going to wait a couple more minutes. A couple more seconds, maybe, and then we'll get started. There's Stella. Hi, Stella. Glad you can make it. Okay, let's get started, and I'm sure a few other people will drop in as well. So,
There you go.
okay.
Had to go into your profile to watch it.
Okay, so welcome back to Sunday Snapshot. I'm Sharon Ings, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ontario, Canada. And today on Sunday Snapshots, we're going to be making a pop-up fun fold card, sometimes called the tunnel card. But if you look it up, you won't see the tunnel. You won't probably find much by tunnel cards. So I'm just going to turn this other one down so I don't hear myself talk, because that's annoying. Okay, this is a Facebook Live, and the video will be up on my Facebook page later to watch, so don't worry about it if you miss something, or hopefully won't be going too fast. And then I will put it on my YouTube afterwards, and I do include all the measurements and everything else that you need on the YouTube video as well. So, but if you have any questions, just send me a message, and I can certainly be happy to help you out. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. So the card we're making today, of course, you know me, I never make the same card that I showed you on when I set up the event. So I just decided I wanted to go a little bit more like spring and happy and flowers, and so we're going to work with the tulip one today. And I'm going to do this card, although it's the same paper and the same colors. I'm going to do it a little bit differently, and as we go along, I'll explain to you why. So the tunnel card, the pop-up part, looks like this. Okay, so let me just sit it up there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'll sit it up there. So I just wanted to show you what we're using today. The stamp set that I'm using today is called Timeless Tulips, and it is in the annual catalog. Now, we do have a new one that's in the annual catalog on page 39. I don't know if you can see that. Let me move it over. So this is the one that we're using in the annual catalog, and I chose it because it has a nice little Happy Easter saying, but I also chose it because I don't have the new one. Now, in the mini catalog, there is also a suite that has tulips, and so this is the tulip one. There's 2 different stamp sets you can get. One makes the windmill, and this one makes the actual tulips, and this one comes with the die. The bundle in the annual catalog comes with a punch, and unfortunately I can't show you my punch because it's not working, and it's in the repair shop. Hubby's trying to fix it for me, so I had to fussy cut out the ones that I did most of them today anyways. So, but we are using this paper, this called Flowering Fields paper today. So just not using this particular stamp set, using the one out of the annual catalog. They're quite similar. This one's a little more detailed, I think. I like the one in the annual catalog because it's really, really simple. But anyways, that's the one we're using today. So to start, you need 2 pieces of DSP. And those pieces will be, let me just get my book. I had it here. Sorry about that. I'm usually ready for these things. Okay, so these 2 pieces of DSP, and they should be coordinating. They don't have to be from the same paper package as long as you got the colors that coordinate. And they should be 5.5 by 8.5. That's the size that you need. Okay, and 2 of them. Now I also added, I like my base to be plain. You don't have to. You can make this center portion, which actually makes your card, out of just these 2 pieces of DSP. But I liked, it made it a little more solid by putting a solid back on it. So I also cut another piece of the Petal Pink in the exact same size, 5.5 by 8.5. Now, when you're cutting, when you put this in your cutter, just a little trick or a little hint, because by the time you make a few of these, you kind of learn these little trips. I've already cut this, but I just wanted to show you that when you cut this piece, when you measure the 8.5, let me just push this out all the way here. You're at the absolute 8.5. Just push it over the notch of the width of this notch, only because you'll end up having to trim a little bit probably if you don't. You don't want it much bigger. It's like not even just the width of that cut slice wider, just to have a little bit extra on the outside piece, basically. So this particular piece is going to get scored at 4.25. Make sure we have our score blade. So this is our back card. So that's the only score we want on that one. Make sure we match here. And I will burnish that a little bit later. And then on our pattern piece, you want to think about how you want your patterned piece. This card, I wasn't all that happy with the end of it because I didn't like the plainness here and how this looked. You're going to try a few. I'm going to show you a few more at the end. Everyone's going to look different. So I wanted to do this one a little bit differently. So I'm going to make my back piece so that the background is actually this one. So this one, I'm only going to score at 4.25 as well. Oops, one last one of my little. So 4.25 for this one. We're going to score. Oh, I think I scored that too hard. Probably ripped it a little bit. Okay. You got to be a little gentle when you're scoring with these because it is DSP and not cardstock. And this one, you're going to do a few more scores on. So on this page, the one that's going to actually end up being this fold part, you're going to score at, let me just say, 2.5 from, or sorry, 2 1/8 from each end. And I just found it easier to do it from each end than to try and, so 2 1/8 here. Have a little gentle touch just so you get a line and not push it down. And 2 1/8 here. And then, because we need it to fold in the middle, we're going to score again at 4.25, which is the middle of your card. Okay, and this is the piece that we're actually going to cut that provides us with this hole. So let me get my score out of here for a minute. And we're going to actually do some die cutting on this one. Now the die cut that I used is, because it's become my favorite, I think we talked about this last week, is the Scallop contour dies. I've done another one where I use a different die, so you'll see that at the end. So you're going to place this. You want this to be in the middle of these 2 pieces. So let me just burnish this so we can give you an idea. It doesn't really matter. Let me think about this. This is going to fold this way. This is going to fold toward me. And this is going to fold this way. So let's just give them a fold so we know what we're working with. And we want our cutout to be in the center of this piece. So you can eyeball it. The other die that I used on the other one had a little divot that was right in the middle. It made it easy. But just make sure you've got paper on this side and evenly on the top and bottom. And if you're for your cut, you can use anything you want. It can be a circle, it can be an oval. Just make sure that it's not too wide, that you have too narrow a piece here, or your inside is going to be very, very flimsy, and you don't want that to be really flimsy. So I don't want this to move while I'm die cutting it, so I'm just going to put a little bit of washi tape on here. And you want to probably, you can use, like this piece has a pattern that's going directional, so you just have to make sure you cut your paper correctly to get your pattern going the right way. And then your other piece, this other piece has no direction on my pattern. So just hang on one second. I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine. Just be 1 minute here. Didn't feel like hauling it over to my table, so this was the easier way to do it. I was more than a little disappointed this morning. I was using my small die cutting machine, and I haven't even had it that long, and the one top plate cracked. So I wasn't real happy about that. Anyways, now we'll carefully take off our washi tape. Okay, and then remove our die piece. Save that for something else. You might want to make another card with that. And one of the other cards, I actually used it on the front. Okay, so now let's just burnish these to make sure that they're folded really well. Our folds are nice and strong. Got to be a little careful with these because there's not a lot of, as I said, you could use an oval, a circle, and you would have even more room on either side doing that as well. Do this side. Okay, so this is going to get mounted. Let's burnish this one. This is such pretty paper. The back is even really pretty. Okay, so this is going to get mounted. I'm trying to be really gentle because I did rip that a little bit, but this is going to hold it together. So this gets mounted on here. Now, if you were going to do stamping or anything, if you wanted to put some kind of a design or a stamp on the inside, you would do this now, because trying to put it together after is not easy. Or if you wanted to put something inside of it, you would do it now. For instance, I'll just show you one of the other ones I did. This is a previous one that I did. I wanted a butterfly in the middle. Well, I didn't think, and I had to try and get that butterfly in after the fact. So it's just easier to do anything that you want to do at this stage of the game. Now, first of all, let's mount this on our actual card base. We're not doing any stamping on our card base, so card front, so we don't need to worry about that. Otherwise, we would do that first. So we're actually just going to mount this on here. You can use your glue. Oops, that's the wrong one. You can use your tear and tape. You can use whatever you like to put this on. I just like this because it's quick. Now, I put one on the outside. See where I ripped that? I've got to be really careful. And one on either side of this fold. So then I'm going to fold it. And I'm going to get it right into that crease. So we're evenly, because this covers the entire thing. There is no border. So you want to make sure that when you lay it down, you're laying it down to cover everything. Oh, see where I ripped that? Okay, we'll make it work, not to worry. Okay, so there. The easiest way to do this, if I haven't got it taped there already, well, I guess I can't do it that way. I'll have to do it like this. But I would have just normally folded that closed over top. But anyways, that worked out really well. And that's going to hold that ripped piece together too. So let's close this again and burnish this. Now, if you have a little bit, so you've got a tiny little bit on both of these, just on the one side actually, you can just trim that off. It's only on the one side. It's because the cutter, to me, I don't know whether it's me or the cutter, but it's never exactly the same if I cut two pieces of paper. They never look exactly the same. So then this one, your inside piece is going to go on like this, and we want to put glue only on these two flaps. So again, I'll do my tape. And don't go past that score line. So actually, it might even be easier to fold it and do it this way. And you know you're not going to get past that forward line. So we're just going to do this side first. And again, it's exactly the same size. So you want to match it up with your edge exactly. Take that down. Then we'll fold it and do this side. And I'm going to pull this over here. And again, you might have to close that. I hope I'm going to stay in line here. And you're going to match this one up. Don't stick till I get my corner where I want it here. Match that one up exactly. And tape that down. Then I close mine up and I run my bone folder over those folds again. Just to give it a bit more. Okay, and there's your pop-up mechanism. Just like magic. Okay, so now we're going to do, oh, see, now I have a little bit there of the purple showing. And again, I'm just going to trim that off just to make sure it looks very neat. Okay, so we're not going to work on the inside right now. We're going to work on the outside. So, as I say, I'm doing mine little, the front is going to be quite similar to what I did before. So I'm going to step it up a little bit. There was some stamping on this one, and we're going to do it a little bit differently. So let's put our tulip piece on. There's no stamping or anything that happens on this piece. I'm actually going to do it like this, just so I can see. There is a border. I did a 1/4 inch border. This piece is your normal size is 4.5 by 5.5. This is 4 by 5.25. And then I cut it using my same die that, depending on what you use, you could use the cutout of this, and you could. It would give you a bit of a background as well. But I wanted a plainer piece, so I did another die cut of just the pretty petal pink. But we're going to do some stuff before we actually put that on there, because I found that if you add this now, it's a little tricky. If you're going to stamp, on this particular one, I stamped part of it. So you can't stamp on here. You just won't get a good stamp. So we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're not going to stamp this one, but I do want to color the edges a little bit. So let me just grab a scrap of paper here. Just wanted a bit of an inking edge. So I'm going to take my petal pink because I don't really want anything that's darker. And my blending brush. Why are we not clear here? Hang on. Why is my camera gone fuzzy? Oh, maybe it's just on there. It looks clear on my phone, so I'm going to assume we're good. All right, so again, remember we start off and you would just do a little bit on the edge. You don't want to start in the center because then you're going to get, oh, isn't that pretty? I do love scallops. Scallops are one of my favorite things. I think it reminds me of outfits that my mother used to make for me when I was little. Okay, so that just gives us a little bit of kind of an antique-y look on the outside edge, which I really like. And that's really all of the inking we're going to do, except when we do our sentiment on the front. On this card, I have sentiment on the front, and I didn't put anything in here, and I'm not going to on the one we're doing now either. I would be writing my sentiment on the back of this card, or my message that I wanted to write to somebody. So that's why I did it that way. Okay, so where did my piece of paper go? All right, so we're going to mount. We're going to pop this up, so I don't want to mount this on here yet. So now we're going to do some tulips. The stamp set, this Timeless Tulips, is what we call a distinctive stamp, which means it has a lot of details in the actual stamp itself. So when you do the stamping, you're going to get some variation. Now, because my punch wasn't working right, I went ahead and did all of my tulips, but I did want to stamp a couple just to show you what that stamp set looks like. So the colors we're using today are Petal Pink, Evening Evergreen, and Poppy Parade. So I'm going to, I don't know why my phone's not doing this. Honey, can you look at my tablet? There's something wrong with it. Okay, so same as you always do, ink up your stamp. And then...
That's the internet.
Oh, is it?
There it is.
Stamp. And so you'll see the variegation in the colors here. Well, on here it is.
That's only on your tablet.
Okay. And then this stamp set comes with, these look like leaves, and they can be leaves. They are leaves. I've used them. But this particular one with this little swirl is also an extra little petal that you can add to your tulip. And you're going to see how I did that when I show them, when I get them for you. Okay, so here's our tulips. And again, you just stamp that other little extra one, and then you put it on with dimensionals, and it gives you a little bit of a 3D effect, and that's what I wanted to do. So we're going to finish this one because I only did 3 as a sample. So I do have my little swirly thing here. On this one, I decided to just do it a different color and see how it looked like with the petal pink behind and the stamped off Poppy Parade. But on this one, I think I'm going to make the petal the same color. So we're going to stamp our petal. Okay, and as I said, my punch is not working right, so I'm going to have to cut these out by hand. So just bear with me while I do a quick... Let's get rid of these inks. We don't need them right now. My scissors. Is it fixed? Oh, good. The punch is fixed, so I can punch it out. Thank you, babe. Okay, so our punch has the tulip and the leaf, or the front piece of, not the leaf. It can be a leaf if you want. You could do it in green, but it's actually the front piece of your tulip. So first we'll cut the tulip out. We'll see if this is going to work. My piece of paper is a little bit small. Get it placed where we want it. Okay, and then, oh, let's see, that piece of paper didn't come out. That's what happened last time.
Let it release.
I did let it release. Okay, and now we'll try the other side and we'll do the leaf. There we go. I'll get that in the right spot there. Whoops. Still not quite. My pieces of paper would be a little bit better if they were a little bit bigger. I'm just using up scraps. Okay. That's working much better. Thank you. Okay, so this one, I don't really like this wide edge. So let's just trim that off a little bit. A trick when you're doing fussy cutting is leave a little bit of the edge. Don't cut, especially with these distinctive stamps, don't cut right on that outside. You'll lose part of your design. So leave your punches, leave a little edge. Go ahead and leave a little edge as well. So we're going to use some pop-ups here, some dimensionals. If I can find my dimensionals. There they are. So that we can pop up that little piece. A little part of the petal. And I have actually made them before where I've punched out quite a few of the tulips, and then I've cut out this little section as well, and then raised it on top of another stamped one to give it even more of a three, kind of like a paper towel look is what you end up with. So on this one, I stamped the background, but on this one, I wanted to step it up a little bit, so I decided not to stamp the background. I'm actually going to, I actually cut out, I shouldn't say I didn't stamp them, but I actually cut out the stems. So we're going to make it look a little bit different by actually putting the stems on. And I cut out 2 different colored stems, one in the evergreen and one a little bit lighter. And I want my one flower to be taller than the other, and not all greens are the same in plants, so I didn't want it all exactly the same in here as well. I have different colored leaves, so we're going to get, I think we'll have 3 light ones here. We'll have 2 leaves, 3 leaves. We'll see. We'll see if we want 3 or 2. And in this particular case, I want to use my glue. So I'm not going to pop up the stems. I'm just going to put them on. And it doesn't matter if they go over the bottom because we're going to trim off what we're not going to use anyways. And besides which, it's going to be behind our sentiment. So let's make this one here. And then our other one. We're going to go the other way. Thanks, Mary Lou. I'm glad you like it. We'll see how it works out when I get done. It's always a surprise to me, as well as it is to you when I do it differently than... Now, I think I want to pop this leaf up, so we're going to put the glue away for a minute. Get our pop-ups back out. I'll put one on this leaf. And you just kind of put them on the stem wherever you think they should go. And then I think we'll put the darker one here. And then we'll put another lighter one over here because, you know, they're not the same. Plants are all variegated colors, so. Okay, so let's put this one here. And then this one a little bit higher in the middle. Okay, so now we're going to do our tulips. We want one of each color. And this one's the variegated one, so I'm going to actually... Oh, I didn't do another pink one. I thought I did another pink one here. Got some little ones. Okay, so we're going to use that one there. And of course, you can make your tulips any color you want, depending on your paper. You can do this card with any stamp set that you want. That's what's nice. So they're so flexible. Just basically, it's the style that we're showing you here. So we'll put this one here, and we'll kind of put it off on a jaunty angle. You see, this is an old piece of paper that I never waste paper, so I stamped something on the sentiment and didn't like it, so I just turned it around and made it a tulip. Okay, so then this one's going to be down here a little bit more. And so you'll see the difference between that one. This one has a bit more dimension because I popped up the leaves and I put the stems on as opposed to just stamping them on there. So let's just trim the bottoms of these stems because not going to see them anyways. Doesn't really matter what they look like because our sentiment's going to go there. Okay. So then this can be mounted on the front of our card. And again, I'm going to use, I don't think I want to pop it up. And the reason I don't want to pop this up is because if you're going to mail this card, we have double, raised up sections, and it's quite a bulky card to begin with. If you're not mailing it, then sure, pop that up a little bit and get it more dimension. But just in case you want to mail it, I would suggest that you just glue this part on. So we'll center that. Okay, so we'll put our tulips aside because we need those for the inside. And now let's just stamp our sentiment. And I want this to be an Easter card, so I used the sentiment out of the Timeless Tulips, which says, Happy Easter, Happy Spring, Happy, Happy Everything. I thought that was kind of, I already have that on the block somewhere, I think. Hang on. No, maybe I don't. Thought I did. I must have put it back in here. And it's right there. Myself a black. Try and get this straight as possible. I always think that I'm lining up straight and I eyeball it and it's not straight, so let me just try that again. Oops, it still doesn't look straight. These polymer stamps are very flexible, so we need to go this way. All right, and we're going to do this in our Evening Evergreen. So we'll stamp. I like to test just to make sure it's all good. Yep, looks great. Okay, so we're going to stamp it on here on our piece of white. Oh, see? Now that didn't work. Good thing we got another side. Didn't get ink on the Happy Easter part there. There we go. That's better. All right, and with this one, I wanted it to be, I'll just grab my little guillotine cutter here. Make this a little smaller. I don't want it too big. No, it's still not small enough. Just want to make sure that that's dry. Don't smudge it. Let's just make it a little smaller. Let's go here. Okay, so I'm not going to cut the ends off yet because I'm just going to show you a little trick with a punch. And in this particular case, wherever I put my punches that I was using this morning, that's not it. What did I do with them? I thought I set them right beside me. Oh, here they are. Okay, so we're going to use our diagonal punch, and I want to flag the corners. So you can just stick it in your punch, get an idea of where your letters are, move it down a little bit. Oops, hang on. I don't want to lose my letters, that's all. So just find your letters, move it back, punch in just a little flag. I never seem to be able to flag evenly, so for me this works a little bit better. Oops, stop sliding. Some of these punches, when you just even get a bit of pressure on them, it keeps things in the spots, but this one doesn't do that. And there we go. That's how we want that. And we are going to pop that up because we want to make sure we clear the leaves, so we are going to pop that up as well. Okay, and that will be the front done. Oh, here I thought I was throwing those in the garbage can. It's going on the floor. Okay, so let's hide the bottom of that. All right, and there's our sentiment. Now we're going to come back and add a little bit of bling to this, of course, because what's a card if it doesn't have bling on it? But I want to do something on the inside. Now, this one that I didn't like about the way we did this one is that these pieces are added. So otherwise, this whole tulip design would have been the whole outside, and it looked a bit much. So I put these on, but then it looked really plain and I didn't really like it. Now I could have done exactly what I'm going to do now, but that didn't cross my mind. And in this particular case, I had put 2 tulips on the inside of where the card opens, which works because then you have something in your little window. But this has got quite a bit anyways in the little window, so we're going to put the tulips on the outside edge so that there's some decoration there as well. So we're going to put one on each side of here. So again, I have my stems. I have one of just each different color. Let's go this way with this stem. So this stem piece can go this way to get it to bend that way, and just flip it around the other way to do it the other way. I have leaves. And we might put 2 leaves on each one now because that's the only one that's there. Not sure if I want these little ones on here or not. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. All right. And then on this one, we want 2 of the lighter green leaves. Okay. This one I'll probably cut my stems off before I put them on, because I want the leaf to be I want the flower to be fairly tall, but not necessarily the same on each side. So I guess it doesn't matter. We can trim it off after. All right, so again, we're not going to pop up our stems. So we're going to move this one up a bit. And I'm not going to pop them up on the inside of the card because the inside of the card is already pretty thick, and it's already got a pop up on the tulip. So I'm just going to put that right on flat. So then we'll add our leaves. So let's have one here. Give it a minute to dry. You want to make sure you stay away from your fold because that's where your card's going to fold. So don't go over that little edge. And then this one, we'll put just up a little ways higher. And then we're going to trim that piece that's hanging over. Get rid of that. And we'll do the same on the other side. And we want our tulip to fold the other way. So I'm going to start over here. And put this one over here. With the glue, it gives you a few minutes to move it around if you're not happy with where it is. So that's kind of a nice advantage, you know, other than the tape. Doesn't really matter which way this leaf goes. They've got a point on each end. So again, I'm going to watch for that crease that I don't get it where the bend is. A little bit too much glue on that one. Let's just get that out of there. And then we'll move down with this one. Okay, now I wanted something that would overhang on this part that opens up. So I took my little leaf punch, and I should have some scraps. I have a scrap of this one anyways. And I took both colors of leaves. So we need, oops, make sure we get one of those. See if I can get one out the other way here. Yeah. So 2 of these. And you could use any kind of die cut leaves that you have. I need another piece of the light green here. Hang on. And then 2 of, it feels very thick. Yeah, there's 2 pieces there. So 2 of the lighter green. These are just my scraps, so I don't really worry about wasting them too much. And I just want to place these. So I'm going to use glue dots here. My little mini glue dots. And put them together. I'm going to make sure I'm in the screen here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put a glue dot on this one. And then we're going to add the green to it, the darker green. Overlap them a little bit, and I just want this to hang over in the corners. So now I'm going to put 2. Now, as long as you're going in and you're not going past the center point again. So if you were going to do a leaf that went around, you could actually do the whole thing as long as it didn't go in past that center point. Whatever. And if you, of course, if you have an oval, you have a lot more room to work there with whatever you want to decorate the edges with. And you'll see in one of the other cards that I did it a little bit differently. So let's just hang this so it hangs in the corner. There's my center. So that's good. It's not going to be in the way. It's going to fold up nicely. We'll do the same with the other one. This one we'll put the light green on top. Vellum. This would look really nice done with vellum too, I think, on those edges that you're decorating. Hi, Pam. Thanks for stopping in. Okay. So this one we're going to put in this corner. Again, just kind of coming down from here. And that just gives you a little bit more interest in there because we don't have anything inside. And I didn't want anything inside because I wanted those tulips to be the focal point. So then that closes up. So basically that's your card. But of course, we have to add a little bling because what is a card without a bling? So I chose our basic pearls to use for the bling. And the reason I chose them is because with the basic pearls, you can make them any color you want. And I wanted them to match my paper. So I'm using my light poppy parade blender. And I just colored the pearl, which is kind of neat, actually. I already did these, but I'll do them again. And again, with dimensionals, we like to have odd numbers. So I'm going to put one here. And one here on this one, and then one up in the center here somewhere, just kind of like a triangle, sort of like a triangle. Okay, there we go, and that's our card done. So that's our Happy Easter card. Again, I would write my sentiment on the back because there's more room to write, but it's really kind of a pretty little card. A little bit of Wink of Stella I think would be nice on those tulips, and I might do that after. So this is today's, compared to the one I'm used as an example, which I just kind of, the front's almost exactly the same, except this is stepped up a little bit by having these pieces raised. And then the inside looks a little different because you've got this tulip paper in the background, and we moved the position of the tulips. So that's the difference between those two particular cards. And then I'll just show you a couple of examples of some other ones that I did. So I showed you this one already. I'll just bring it back in. So this is using the Good Morning Magnolia. I haven't put any bling on this one yet, but I will. I think I'll just put plain crystals on here. This is our white lace ribbon. And again, the same thing as I did with the pearl jewels, I use my black marker, my alcohol marker to color that ribbon. Now, a trick with ribbon, when you're coloring ribbon, you can use your inks, but the issue with the inks is the alcohol marker is alcohol based. The inks are not alcohol based, they're water based, and it'll get on your fingers. It'll be messy. So that's why I used my blenders to do that. So that was the outside of that one. And this is the piece that I cut out of the inside. So this is just the DSP, basically, turned around the other way and put on the front. And then this is how I did the inside, the smaller magnolia on this side. I did stamp this one because it showed up nice on the gingham. And then I put a butterfly in the middle, and those are just a die cut off of, I think it's out of the Forever Fern site, stamp die set, that one. But I liked the colors. I thought the colors were really pretty. And then the butterfly's wings still are loose and move around a little bit. So that one's kind of nice. And then this one is the first one that I made. And I made this using DSP that I had designed myself. So I actually stamped the DSP, colored the DSP, and there was a bit of embossing on that DSP as well. Used those wonderful die, cut the dies that I have, that I told you are my favorite, has a scalloped piece in it, a long scalloped piece. And I used that to cut my background just to get that scalloped look. And then on the inside, I just took some more of that DSP and cut it, and fussy cut it out so that I could put it. So this is another case where you make sure that your edges don't go past the folds, but this can go into your center a little bit. And so that's how that ended up looking like that. And then I just cut out some more flowers on that side as well. And again, we could have not put this back piece on. You don't really need it because the two pieces of DSP that you've got together are strong enough. But this gives you a place to write your sentiment, so you do have a place. But that one turned out fairly well. I like the colors in that one as well too. So that's our cards for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I really, really would appreciate your input as far as what you'd like to see. So I would really like to do my videos based on what you're interested in learning, whether it's a technique or whether it's just a type of card that you haven't tried yet and you want to try. Just let me know, and I'd be really happy to do that for you next week. Or, oh, hi, Velma. I see you got on. It's good. And if you have any questions, just feel free to message me after. The video will be there for you to watch later, and it'll be up on my YouTube probably before the end of the day. And I'll have all the measurements and everything on that YouTube as well. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye for now.